Good afternoon and welcome to the Gaunt podcast. Unbelievable. It's Starmer versus Musk because now Keir Starmer wants to ban X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it. He says it's about safety. It's not. It's about control. It's about censorship. And it's about silencing critics. And if they succeed in banning X, it'll be your free speech next. Starmer is a dictator, and I'm going to show you in the next half hour or so why. But obviously, I want your views as well. Tell me now, because he wants to ban X because he's not content with cancelling elections. He's not content with trying to control the whole agenda, having the BBC in his back pocket. Oh no, he wants the lot. He wants to silence all criticism. So he's not content, as I say, with cancelling elections, jailing people for hurty words, and policing protests differently depending on who's doing the shouting. You know what I mean. But now he wants to police the internet. The excuse is deep, fake, nude images, and he mentions women, and he mentions, of course, children. Now, I completely condemn that 100%, especially children. But don't insult our intelligence. We've got laws to protect against that, and Elon Musk has already said he won't allow anyone to use Grok for that unless they're fully registered. So it's not about protection of our children. It's about silencing criticism on X or Twitter particularly. Starmer wasn't bothered when it was a left-wing rag. He's only bothered now because it's primarily a vehicle for criticising him and his crazy ideas, like sending your kids to Ukraine to die, or the latest one, sending your kids to Greenland, like picking a fight with Donald Trump over Greenland. The man is out of control. So this is all about power. And Keir Starmer, the dictator, he wants complete power. And he's going to use OFCOM. I've had lots of run-ins with OFCOM. I've always said there's no need for OFCOM, even when it comes to radio or TV. We've got an off switch. Don't like it? Turn it off. We don't need a bunch of middle-class busybodies telling us what is acceptable and what is not, especially when they're cut to the same cloth as Starmer. Do you really think they're going to make any difference? Do you think OFCOM are going to censor the BBC for their terrible coverage of Israel and Gaza? Do you think OFCOM are going to come down like a ton of bricks on the BBC about what they did to Trump? No. Do you think they're going to ever give you a right of reply? No. Do you think that OFCOM is just a chocolate fireguard? Because I certainly do. We've got an off button. Don't like it. Don't watch it. But he now wants OFCOM to use all their powers to basically ban Twitter. He's even gone to Canada and he's even gone to Australia to say to them, let's do it together. Now, listen, Kemi Badenoch was on the telly this morning. She wants to do what Australia's done, which is make it more difficult for children under 16 to use social media. I haven't got a problem with that. But as an adult, I should be able to read, watch, look at, view, contribute to anything I fancy. And I've certainly got a right, it's called free speech, to criticise any political party or any political leader. Do you agree with me? This is so dangerous what he's trying to do. And as I say, it comes on top of all of his other control methods. Because instead of censoring speech, why doesn't Starmer deal with the grooming gangs? He's been so slow off the mark. Well, we know why, and we'll talk about it in this show. If you want to make a comment, just write it in the box now. Why doesn't he talk about rapists being allowed to join the Metropolitan Police because they lowered their standards, all in the name of diversity? Why doesn't he talk about the Birmingham police officers? That bloke has still got his job, although he falsified evidence and blamed the Israelis/Jews rather than the Muslims who tooled themselves up, who had weapons. He's still got his job. Or more generally, why doesn't he talk about BBC bias? I watched Laura Kusenberg, or whatever her name is, this morning. It was a disgrace. She first of all had Kemi on, and she said, oh, well, the first thing I want to talk to you about today, Kemi, is do you think Donald Trump is going to invade Greenland? And Kemi Badenoch looked at her as if to say, are you mental? Hundreds of people are being slaughtered in Iran, and you don't think that's number one priority? She didn't say it quite like that, but that's what she implied. But no, Laura had decided. The big debate this morning was about Donald Trump. Now, if Donald Trump was to take Greenland aggressively, maybe it would be something to discuss. But at the moment, it's talk. But it's the BBC bias. But Kemi was having none of it. She put in a good performance this morning. It's got to be said. Eventually, Laura got on to what's happening in Iran. The BBC have been a disgrace about Iran. Now they're doing reports on it only because they think it's safe in terms of that's the media agenda. That has all been driven by the internet and by social media. If it wasn't for social media, you wouldn't know, or you'd hardly know. Do you understand what I'm saying? And the BBC bias now, we all know, is off the scale. Without social media, Twitter in particular, none of these scandals would have seen the light of day. The truth is simple. And if you disagree with me, tell me. Starmer and the mainstream media, they're all buddies together. If you want some more proof of that, they interviewed Lord Mandelson. Lord, he should be stripped of his lordship, a peerage, whatever they call it. He was on the telly talking about Epstein today and giving his views on other politics. I noticed as well, it was very interesting. It was a pre-recorded interview. He would have demanded that so that he could have got changes in it if he needed. He wouldn't go live. She did ask him a question about Epstein. She did ask whether he wanted to apologize to the victim/survivors. He said no, because he didn't know. And then his excuse was, effectively, because I'm a gay man, Epstein didn't talk to me about all the women. Oh, yeah, so you went to his island, you went to his house, you've met him many times, you even met him after he'd been convicted. Oh, and Mandelson's excuse for that was, well, I believed him. What, you believed Mandelson rather than the courts who had decided that Epstein was a paedophile? And he's on BBC One this morning because all of these people are in bed together. So when I say Starmer and the mainstream media hate Elon Musk, I'm correct, because they really hate him, because they know that their days of control are coming to an end. Do you agree with me, or am I going over the top? Feel free to have your say. If it wasn't for Twitter in particular, X as it is now, since Elon Musk took over, and I'm not saying everything on there is right, and I'm saying some of it's horrid. I accept all that. And I certainly don't want pictures manufactured. But then again, why isn't he having a go at Chat GP or whatever it's called, or all the other software you can get? It's not just on Twitter that you can do this. This is ludicrous, which is why I say it's about control. It's nothing to do with anything else, and it's to do with censorship. He controlled Do you remember the days when people used to say, oh, Rupert Murdoch decides who the next government is? It was never really true. He just knew at which point to back the winner. But the truth is, the tabloid newspapers, did have tremendous power. A power that's been taken away. They were in bed with the government of the day, or rather the establishment, I should say. That's why we didn't hear about the grooming gangs. That's why it took so long for the MP's expenses to hit mainstream press. This is why we get rapists in the police. This is why we get two-tier justice. This is why we get the chief constable of Birmingham still in a job, even though he falsified the evidence. This is why we get this tremendous political bias. This is why they don't talk about Hamas and the fact that they're murdering bastards and they hide the weapons in hospitals. None of that, no. Israel, bad. Trump, bad. This is why they can think they're above the law and they can falsify what the most powerful man in the world said. And the Greenland story, they're almost, he said something very rude there, but they're getting off on the fact that there's this Greenland story as well. They don't report the fact that it's 50-50 in Greenland, that they might prefer to be under Trump. I haven't really got an opinion on it at the moment, but I'm fed up of being sold the mainstream narrative, which is always the same. Trump bad, Jews bad, Israel are the devil. Let's all hug an Arab. Let's all hug a potential terrorist. And that's why we get nothing done about the small boats. They don't care. They simply don't care. Because you could stop the boats tomorrow. Hungary have proved it. And well done to GB News for highlighting that after I was talking about it last week. It's brilliant what they're doing. Look at Poland. Look at Australia. Look at the United States of America, where it's clamped down on it. And then, there's this latest story about the woman who got murdered. I nearly fell into the trap myself. The woman who got shot in Minneapolis because she didn't move, or well, depending on who you believe. And if it's the mainstream media, it was another terrible policeman. It was another George Floyd moment. Although that's all unraveling, isn't it? Because everybody's got a video now in their phones. So they can't control it. This is what I'm trying to say. The idea of stopping deep, fake, nude images, particularly of children, I completely agree with, and I condemn people who do that. But we've got laws to lock them up. We do not need a government censor like OFCOM. They've got no business deciding what adults can say online. And you know what? If you do this, it all goes underground and it will be worse. But Starmer can't see that because, as I've told you a million times before, he's got the Midas touch in reverse. He's probably got the biggest little tinkle erection he's ever had in his life, because now he's got Ukraine he can ponce about in and say he's an international statesman. He's got Greenland. He wants to take on Donald Trump. The guy's a madman, and the danger is, and then they say, we're 28,000 troops too few. Oh, well. Yeah, oh, well. What that means, Starmer, not your kids going to the front line, but the kids of my listeners and my viewers, the working class again. Why don't you just deal with the grooming gangs for once? Oh, you can't because of the votes. What about making sure the police become a force again and not a service? What about all officers like that chief constable? Why is he still in a job? Why haven't you sacked him? What have you done about the BBC bias? Nothing. You've done nothing. And this is why we need something like Twitter, /X, whatever you want to call it, in my opinion. Right, I'm going to come to your calls now. Just get your comments, your comments in, and we'll start reading them out. There's plenty more to talk about. I could have done a show on about 15 subjects today. So if there's something else that you want to talk about, feel free. It's an extra show. It's Sunday. Excuse me. And thanks for joining in. Got a good response already. 12 likes, but I could do with a few more than that. So press the like button. And if you really enjoy the show and you'd like to donate some cash, please do click the $ and donate whatever you can afford. And likewise, go to www.buymeacoffee.com. Thank you very much indeed. Right, so Stephen says, hello, John, afternoon to you. I don't understand this one. John Platt says, hello and good evening to Paul Gaunt and the mods and chats. Who's Paul Gaunt? What are you on about? My name's John Gaunt. Anyway, Blair set up Ofcom. I'm not sure he did, actually. It has been going for years, and it's irrelevant. It's just an establishment institution full of lackeys, all with the same political beliefs. It's just wrong. We don't need it. In the theatre, we had a thing called the Lord Chamberlain, which they got rid of in the late 60s, and rightly so. As a grown-up, go and watch, look, read, whatever you want, partake in whatever you want, as long as you're not hurting anyone. The idea that you need some middle-class twits telling you who you can listen to, no. And this is another thing. See, the establishment don't like the fact. That's why he's done nothing on the BBC. Was it 500,000 people are refusing now to pay the license? It's dying. And it's the internet that's taken over, and social media in particular. Do you agree with me? It's about Grok, changing images of women and children online. They have been forced to remove that app. So what's wrong with that? Well, Graham, little lefty Fletcher, you're not up to date. That's not the facts. It is about Grok. Grok is his piece of software. You're right, where you can alter images. And they've asked him to not do it. So what he said is, only if you're fully paid up member of Twitter will he let you do it from now on. That's a sensible. It hasn't been removed at all, Graham. That's what Starmer wants. But Starmer wants more than that. Starmer's having meetings with Canada and Australia about restricting Twitter in our territories. So don't come on and lie, Graham. This is what I can't bear with lefties. They're meant to be anti-establishment and socialist and be kind. But in the end, they only want to be kind if it's their view that's being expressed. When it was full of lefties, no one moaned. Now they don't like it because, dare I say it, the common people are speaking. John Platt says, apologies for getting your name wrong, John Gaunt. Well, it's okay. I'll take it. What are we? In the Soviet Union now, says Stephen. Thank you very much indeed. Strawberry Atheist 2114 says, I like Kemi. I must admit, she is beginning to grow on me as well. I like the way she's got tough in Prime Minister's questions. And I like the way today she was taking none of that BBC rubbish. Good on her. Whether she can turn that party round quick enough to get, excuse me, any real votes, I don't know. But at least she's got a vision, and she certainly has. Oh, here we are, Lefty's back. And the lady on Laura's show said they were looking at the Australia model, nothing else. Which lady? Which lady are you talking about, Graham? On the panel? You're talking about on the panel? Do you know who's on the panel? I'll take no lessons from anybody who gets on the panel of her show, my friend, because they're part of the same establishment. Starmer has had phone calls with Canada and indeed with Australia about banning the whole of Twitter. You can be as naive as you want. That's what they're trying to do. But that would suit you because you're a lefty who doesn't like any criticism. Hula hoop, spot on again, Gaunty. Thank you very much indeed. Good afternoon, John. I think Starmer will be ousted by his own party soon. Well, that's an interesting thing you bring up, Den, because I see Andy Burnham, they're now saying, has probably got a seat to go towards. It's going to happen. They're going to get rid of him because they're stupid, but they're not completely. Well, maybe they are. But that's not the answer. Even if they get rid of him, who are they going to replace him with? Then they're going to be just as bad, aren't they? What we need a root and branch renewal of British politics. I'm telling you, they're all the same. I've been saying this for years. Self-serving pigs with their snouts in the trough. That's what we need to change. When you watch Laura Kunsberg's show, you see it. How could anyone at the BBC think it was acceptable using our money not me, because I don't pay, but our license fee made money to get Mandelson on there. And then why did they agree to approve? No one in the mainstream media will ask this question. I know how it works. When I used to do media training, I used to say to people, if you ever get an interview request from BBC, ITV, whatever, always do it live. Oh, why is that? I'll be nervous. I said, because if you do it live, they can't really alter what you're saying. Although they've tried to prove that wrong there with Trump. If you get taped as part of a package, they can cut it and juxtaposition it how they want it to be to fulfill their narrative. The best example of this at the moment is Iran. The BBC didn't mention it for days. The only people who were talking about it were on the internet, small broadcasters. GB News got on board. And now the BBC are talking about it. But they're not that interested. Why? Oh, it couldn't possibly be because it's an Islamist dictatorship that's falling apart. Could it? Couldn't be that, could it? Oh, no, John, you're being much too cynical. They make me sick. They want their narrative and no other. And then they make out they're impartial. It's all bullshit. If you agree with me, tell me. If you disagree, tell me as well. Let's have that debate. But don't come on with silly little left-wing things like, oh, he's not trying to censor free speech. He just wants to protect the children and women. Rubbish. It's just the excuse. He wants total control. As I said on my intro on the internet tonight, is he going to ban football next? Because every football stadium in the country is singing Starmer is a wanker. Maybe that'll be the next thing. Or darts. We can't have darts anymore. Why? Oh, it's a dangerous sport. Those darts are very sharp. And there was blood on the board in the final. Somebody's going to get killed. Yeah, I tell you what, we'll ban it. Nothing to do with them calling you a wanker. No, nothing at all. It's rubbish. I find it hypocritical they're all complaining on X about banning X. If they were really brave, they would delete their accounts, but they won't, because it's do as I say, not as I do policies. Well said, Strawberry Atheist. That's the whole point. You got these people who, I'm going to Blue Sky. I can't stand this place. It's a cesspit of right-wing fascism, blah, blah, blah. They say, but they never go. It's like these people, if Nigel Farage gets elected Prime Minister, I'm leaving the country. Okay, then bye. They never go. It's all huff and puff and shit and bullshit. Like that man, what's that guy? Matthew Stadland. He's another one of them. There's a whole load of them. And then when it's a patriotic thing, they try to grab, oh yeah, we're patriots. You're just a flag shagger. Oh, why am I a flag shagger? Because you think it's a good thing putting up Union flags. Flag shagger. There's no logic. And it's like, I want to know, is there a second-hand shop that is buying all the Palestinian flags or changing them for them to Venezuelan ones? But then they don't know whether they should be supporting Venezuela or not now. And what I also can't understand, whether you like it or not, Trump has brought an element, not the whole thing yet, I accept, of freedom and democracy to Venezuela. And the same is going to happen in Iran when he bombs the fuck out of them tonight. Because he's obviously going to go in. Why would you be against that? Especially if you're left-wing. Wouldn't you be in favour of that? What, you like it? You like dictatorships, do you? It just, none of it adds up. But what definitely adds up is what Starmer's up to. He knows how hated he is. So he wants to close everything down. Stephen Hall, you just keep stating the obvious. Blair's right-hand man, Mandelson, we all know that. Trying to say something original. I agree, John, 100%, says Stu Jones. Or just compliment me like that. That's better. Starmer trying to ban Twitter makes my blood boil. And I don't even use Twitter, says Stephen Hall. That's a better comment, Stephen. Let's go to Adam Cowan. All social media platforms need guarding against inappropriate images. Of course. And I agree with that, Adam. If Starmer takes on Elon, then this will finish them, especially if he funds Nigel Farage as the payback, which he may do. It's worse than that, Adam. Trump and J.D. Vance will absolutely hammer us economically because they want The big tech companies are based in the States, and they see this as an attack on free speech, not just in this country, but in the States as well. All Starmer said what he said, which was childish. Elon Musk has responded by saying, okay, we'll make it so you can only do it if you're fully paid up premium. Right? I'm not one of them, but if you are, then they know who you are. So therefore, the logic works. You wouldn't create it on Grok because they'd know who you are and you could get done with the existing laws we've already got in place in Great Britain. That's not good enough for Starmer. No, he's up on the stage. He's a world statesman. He's Winston Churchill. That's why he's in with Zelensky. That's why the Venezuelan thing. Although the Venezuela, he still hasn't really said where he stands on that, has he? But it's about power. It's about power. He knows he can't control Twitter, /X, Facebook. And it's like, I think I've told you this. When I went to one of Rupert Murdoch's parties at the Oxo Tower in London, there was people used to say, the 200 people run the country. Well, I went to this Christmas party and the 200 people were in the bloody room. All the leaders of the political parties, the main parties, all the editors of the major newspapers, and right in the centre, there he was, Rupert Murdoch. Because they all wanted to be in with him and he wanted to be in with them. It's called business. Well, it's the same thing now with the tech companies, but the tech companies don't need any of that. The tech companies have bypassed all that. And that's what Starmer can't stand. So Starmer goes on Laura Kunsberg last week. He gets 45 minutes on there. Kemi goes on today and she gets about 5 minutes. And just totally biased questioning. Well, there'll come a point, just like Trump did, where these politicians, like Farage is doing already, just goes over the head of the mainstream media and goes straight to the people. How are they going to control it? And the facts are they can't. That's what I'm trying to say. So it's just nonsense. I do worry with AI and such as it's made by people who watched Terminator and said that's what we want, Skynet. Yeah, that's true. I worry about it. I'm not saying it's all good. I'm saying that in a sense, you can't really control it. And to say I'm going to close down Twitter is an overreaction. He isn't doing it because of the deep fakes. He's doing it because he wants total control. He is turning into a dictator. He's been backed into a corner. His own party hates him. His missus must despise him. Nobody likes him. I'm even beginning to feel sorry for him. What do you think? The longer I'm alive, John, this is Denise Deacon on Facebook, I realise how much corruption there is in this world. Everyone who has any power is susceptible to it. If they wanted to do anything about child abusers, they would. But I've said it before, it goes right to the top and it makes me sick. Denise Deacon, you're right. Of course it does. There's paedophile rings all over the place. Why didn't they go heavy on the Muslim rape gangs? Well, mainly because it was all in Labour-controlled areas, the so-called Red Wall. But what about within the establishment? Do you remember the big scandal the other year? And Mandelson, I'm not saying in any way, shape or form that Mandelson's a paedophile. Of course I'm not. But he was very close to Epstein. And then he gets back on BBC One to pontificate on politics. Why is he still a lord? Now, tell me that. Who agrees with me? He should definitely have that stripped. Without a shadow of a doubt. They take us for mugs. They really take us for mugs. It's not funny. As a United Kingdom, that our government spend more on other countries and conflicts, whilst also planting troops in wars we should not engage in. It's gone on forever, Dennis, but I understand what you're saying. How is it that Tit Starmer is still allowed to keep wrecking our country? It's called, unfortunately, democracy. He got elected and he said he's going to do his full term. I don't think he'll last a half term of this school myself, but there we are. What can I say? Lady Bluebell has reposted this stream. Thank you, Lady Bluebell, on Twitter. I mix yourself up with Paul Thorpe, John. That's why I got your name wrong. Sorry about that. Well, you've apologised once. You don't need to apologise anymore. Thank you very much indeed. Starmer's narrative seems to find its way back to China. I don't understand this. Wait a minute. He can put our soldiers in Ukraine without a vote in Parliament. It's also aligned in favour of the ideology. Same KC3. Don't understand any of that. Rewrite it in English and we'll discuss it. Thank you very much. Graham Fletcher, he says Kemi. Kemi said that. Did she? Well, about Australia? I don't think she did. I think you've just listened to what you wanted to hear. John Platt. Thank you, John. It's just donated £2 on YouTube. Every penny counts. You can do it as well. Just click the little... My cough had gone completely this morning. Now it's come back again. He's donated £2. You can do it. Just click the $sign and donate whatever you can afford. Thank you very much indeed, John. He says even Labour MPs are saying Starmer's gone too far now. You're right. Anybody who believes in democracy and free speech, you know, we know that some days X, Twitter, Facebook, they can say things that, or you read things that you totally do. I have massive rows on there, but it's called free speech. You can't, you know, this thing with the children, the deep fake thing, of course, it's wrong. But we've got laws to deal with that. See, the problem with people like Starmer is they just want more and more laws so they can control and control and control more. He should concentrate on using the laws we've got, as I said, to sort out the grooming gangs, sort out corrupt coppers, sort out corrupt MPs. There's a whole host of things he could be doing. But he keeps wanting to distract us. It's like my theory of the small boats. He's never going to close the small boats down because he wants them to be the bogeymen. Because whilst we're concentrating on that, he's doing this over here. Do you see where I'm coming from? Crazy. David KT says Parliament needs to be disinfected and then we could all start again. That's a very good idea. You need a lot of bloody domestics, wouldn't you? In Thailand Till I Die is one of my regulars. He says, and when Starmer I'd forgotten about this. This is a good point. When Starmer pushes through digital ID, free speech on the internet will be gone forever. ID to enter football stadium and concerts and ID to vote, etc. Well, on voting, I do believe everybody should provide proper identity before they vote. I also would scrap most of the postal votes, only the severely disabled or the armed forces if they're out of the country. You go on holiday, tough shit, you lose your vote. I just think it's being abused at the moment, certainly by specific communities. You know what I'm saying. But otherwise, I think you make some sense there. He had forgotten all about the ID. He's determined to push through the ID. He wants us all to be servants to him. Keir Starmer wants to become the new Ayatollah Khamenei, an evil dictator. I'm not sure he'd go that far. I don't know what he'd look like in a frock. And Starmer only cares about the Fabian agenda. Well, a lot of people are saying that. Stephen, Twitter, what social media could be next? Forget about the social media. If he gets to an effective ban on Twitter / X, it's your free speech next. As that in Thailand Till I Die guy just said, if he can control exactly who you are, where you are, banking, all the rest of it, then he has total control. You'll be too scared to say anything on Twitter or X. So it will just fall away. That's what he's after. He's after total control. That's why he's giving the votes to 16-year-olds. Because who are they going to vote for? Him. Well, maybe not. But lefties, aren't they? Or they'll vote for that idiot Polanski. Prisoners have got the vote. The next thing will be people who have just put their flip-flops on the sand. They'll get a vote. I mean, they're getting bloody new council. Have you heard about that? They made a big thing about it 2 days ago. We're going to evict everybody from the hotels. All the so-called asylum seekers. They're not evicting them. They're moving them into houses. Houses that your kids can't get. It's just nonsensical. Unless you're trying to destroy a country. Then it all makes common sense, doesn't it? It all makes common sense if you hate our country. It makes common sense what's going on. Letting prisoners out early, making mistakes, yeah? Letting anyone join the police. Digital ID. Tax the people who do pay tax. Don't tax anybody else. Give most of that tax money to other people who don't want to work, who have come here and just scrounge or have been here for years. It's mad. X isn't the only platform. Others have similar apps, but he's not going for them. I did mention that at the beginning. It's nothing to do with children. It's what's being said on there. From free speech, he cannot stand, says Annette Locke. Very good point, Annette. Right, I'm going to pack in a minute. So if you want to get a comment in, get it in now, because this is an extra show and there's things to do. It's Sunday. Labour delay in local elections. Sure, I haven't thought about. Thank you, Den. Labour delay in local elections just proves how desperate they are to hang on however they can. Yeah, see, as I said to you earlier, I could have done a program today about all these things, but you're coming up with stuff that I'd even forgotten about. That's just how bad it's getting in Britain. Digital ID cards, I forgot about. I just forgot about what Annette Den just said about the local elections being cancelled. Everywhere you look, people getting arrested and put away for hurty words. But people not getting put away for raping young girls. What is going on? And that's why my title today is, today it's Twitter, tomorrow it's you. That's who they're going to come for next. He doesn't want anyone to protest. Not anyone. How is he being allowed to get away with this? Who's going to remove him from office? And what is it with these people? They want to control and micromanage every part of our lives. Why not? Why? Why can't they just let us be grown-ups and make our decisions? And I worry about how all the people he's giving the vote to. Russell Marriott says he's worse than Hitler. Now, that's a bit over the top. Of course he's not. What will the UK look like, John, when Starmer finally goes? A wreck, is what I would say. I've never lived through such bleak times as now, says Stephen. No, well, I despair. I am literally at my wit's end with it. Anyway, look, I've got to go in a moment. So here's one. Good afternoon, John. I watched a TV documentary about the winter discontent in 78, 79. Well, it's pretty rough then. I can remember that, my friend. Dustbins overflowing. It's like Birmingham now. Dustbins overflowing. People being kept in deep freeze sort of, what do you call those things? Cargo things. Outside hospitals. Not enough room in the mortuaries. See, that's the thing what got me wound up today about Iran. There's so many people have been killed or severely injured in Iran. And this woman on the BBC today didn't want to talk about it. She wants to talk about the theoretical possibility that Trump might take Greenland. And also that we might send her. So she says to Kemi, would you let your son go to Greenland? Well, it's not even a question, is it? We're not going to fight Trump, are we? What he wants to do is put the what's he call it? The alliance of the willing, the alliance of the bloody useless, to sort of say to Trump, no, you can't do that. Trump's just going, I'm not worried about it. I think people only get worried about this if they think Trump's some sort of evil guy. Everything he's done in America so far, I'd like to happen here. And that woman getting shot the other day, the more that story comes out, I'm not saying she's asking for it, but if a copper tells you to get out of the car, get out of the car. Is that too simplistic? Probably, John. Right, I'm finishing. David KT says, I like the shirt. Thank you. Starmer is a clown, says Ian Anderson. Correct. Clowns are less funny. It surprised me how similar James Callaghan, this is Richard Pope talking about the winter of discontent, and Starmer are with selfishness. Thank you very much indeed. Sorry, I've been on the wine. Laugh out loud. Was it Callaghan? Winter of discontent of Wilson? Yeah, it was Callaghan. I think you're right. Okay, that's me done. Thank you very much indeed. Bit disappointed that nobody wanted to donate. I don't know why I bother giving up my Sundays, but I will be back tomorrow, Monday night at 6. Try and join in then if you can. Spread the word about the show if you possibly can. Let's get the numbers back up. We're doing brilliant before Christmas. We've fallen off a bit, obviously, because I think people are skint, people are fed up, they've got the hangover from Christmas, if you know what I mean. But I will be back tomorrow, so try and join in then if you can. If not, always check out my YouTube page, my YouTube channel, John Gaunt TV. When you go there, subscribe. That's free. It just means you can get into all the archive and you can see all the stuff we've done before. And also you get notified when I'm doing extra shows, etc., etc. Thanks for supporting us. Thanks for your donations. And thanks for watching and listening. My name's John Gaunt. If you've got kids, give them a kiss, give them a hug. Hey, 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 don't forget to tell them you love them. See you later. Bye.